Hey guys, welcome back to the Launch Your Real Life podcast. My name is Bobby Henderson, and this is the podcast where we help young Christians launch into the real world, strike out on their own, so that they can have an impact on the kingdom that they were meant to have. And today, we are going to talk about margin. Margin is the magical thing, that secret ingredient that allows us to actually make progress in our financial lives. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't really matter what your expenses are. What matters is the difference between the two, and that is your margin. So one person might make $200,000 a year and another person make 40,000, but who has more margin? If the first person has $200,000 coming in and $200,000 going out, but the person making $40,000 only spends $30,000 in a year, well, that person has the margin. That person has the ability to make progress, right? And so I have other episodes out there about finding your expenses. If you need help, go to outline.newstoryfinancial.com, and I have a little tool there that'll help kind of prompt you to think through all the different expenses you might have. Pull up your bank app and flip through the transactions, or whatever you track those expenses on. Bank apps are a great way to do it for with minimal effort. But use that tool and just start putting to paper what your expenses actually are, what your income actually is conservatively, and then you will be at a good starting point. And you can look up those other episodes. But once you have your margin, hopefully it's positive. Hopefully, when you subtract your expenses from your income, hopefully that number is positive, and that means you have some room to grow. Now, I had somebody tell me recently that and this is an older person, when they were my age, when they were a young married couple just starting out, somebody came up and started talking about, all the things you need to do with your personal finances, about saving, about investing, things like that. Then their response would have been like, well, we have like $10 to do with what we will. I don't want to hear about that stuff. And that is totally valid. Maybe you're thinking the same thing. Maybe you're thinking, I literally have $10 that's not already spoken for when I subtract out all my expenses. And I want to tell you that that is a gift. Knowing that number doesn't matter the number. Knowing that number is a gift, because it's from that place that you can actually start to do something about it, right? If you don't like where your margin is at right now, if it's not enough, then we do something that I like to call margin gardening. And so that's just what I like to call it when I think about cultivating more margin. And the way we do that was, obviously there are a couple of levers, two big levers that we can pull. One is, once you have that starting number, you can start to try to weed out expenses. Cut down on your expenses. Cut down on unused things, or things that don't really matter, or wasteful things. And hopefully there's some obvious ones right off the top. Hopefully you're able, as soon as you start auditing yourself, maybe you find a subscription that you don't even use anymore. I don't know if you guys see all the commercials I do. I see a lot of Rocket Money commercials, because their app, their budgeting app, actually has the ability to kind of go and find those things for you and cancel them, and that's super convenient. You can also just cancel yourself really easily. But hopefully there's some low-hanging fruit that you can just eliminate right off the bat. And then there's actually, go deeper. You can actually call your utilities. You can actually price around, make some changes, because a lot of the service providers we have, they don't really extend their best offers to their returning customers, right? So, for example, this past year, when the new year started, I did an audit of all our things. I was able to get our internet down literally $40 a month. $40 a month went back into our margin. I shopped our insurance, our car insurance, excuse me. I shopped our home insurance too, but it actually ended up being good. But I shopped our car insurance, and I got that down $100, $100 back in our margin. And I hired a company to argue down our property taxes, and and I not only I got kind of a refund back from our mortgage company, uh, also our mortgage payments went down like $170. So all that margin just came back to us, right? That's and we can use that instead of it just going out to other people. We can actually use that for our goals. Our goals like are paying off our debt. Our goals like saving up for big life events. Our goals of having enough margin to afford rent in an apartment, right? Uh, the goals that we have, this is how we do it. So, one lever is you can reduce your expenses, right? The other lever also, of course, is increasing your income, and so that can look like, um, getting a new job, right? A lot of times, jumping to a different job can result, especially if you've been at a certain job or a certain employer for a long time. Sometimes the market has passed you by, and you can jump over and get a new job with a significant pay bump. Um, Also, just asking, what you can do, seeing if there's a promotion opportunity where you currently are, right? And I know those are easier said than done, but something that is pretty easy nowadays is getting a side hustle, whether it be driving around Uber Eats. I did that for a while when things were tighter for us. I would spend a few hours a week. This was obviously before we had kids. I'm grateful I don't have to do it now that I have kids. Um, but before we had kids, I would spend a couple of hours riding around doing Uber Eats, delivering food to people. And that was just a little extra money. That would be kind of our fun money, right? But there are all kinds of side hustles, some like that, some that you can do that with the skills that you have, right? Like this financial coaching thing that I'm doing. Um, you know, I start getting clients if things uh, pick up and traction grows, right? Even just the little things here and there, it's extra money, right? And it's doing something that I'm passionate about. Maybe you do design, maybe you make websites, maybe you can film videos better than I can. Maybe you could help me with my social media. If you're out there, I'd be open to it. Um, Social media is basically non-existent right now, but um, doing something hopefully that you're passionate about, that you're good at. Um, yeah, use your imagination. Use your imagination. I was talking to one person. It's been a while now, but I was talking to a person who really enjoyed cleaning cars, and I was like, man, you know how much I would pay for somebody else to really deep clean my car? And so, that's a potential side hustle right there. Now, not everything we do for fun we should just try to monetize. That's not what I'm saying, but consider what season you're in. If you are in a season where maybe you have fewer responsibilities family wise, maybe this is a good chance to build up some cushion. Maybe this is a chance to work towards saving so that you can launch into the real world. If you haven't launched yet, maybe you can do that with by saving, by working extra, by doing overtime. Um, and I think when you do both of these things, I would bet that you will find more margin than you think. Now, what do you do next with that margin? Well, there's a couple of things that we're going to go into in the next couple of weeks. But starter emergency fund, just having $1,000 to $2,000 to just have as a cushion for the little things that might happen. That's a great place to start. Um, and what you do next is up to you. But I wanted to talk about the power of finding margin, and it starts with knowing your own numbers. So again, check out outline.newstoryfinancial.com and get a breakdown of what that looks like for you. And you can even go and then plug it into finstory.app. That's my budgeting app. And if you need pointers on how to set all that up and what all that budgeting system is about, you can go to the link in the description for my school page, and there's a video for free on that school page that will walk you through that entire budget with that app, me going line by line, basically what everything is. So if you find any of that hopeful, I hope that you will share this podcast. I hope you'll like it, subscribe, all the things, especially if you know somebody who is in this phase of life trying to reach independence, trying to get out of their parents' house. Again, not because it's such a bad thing to live at your parents' house, but because you want to, because maybe God's calling you to more than you can do in this current state. So, if you know somebody like that, forward on this podcast, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.